Well, good morning, members and friends of Crawford Electric Cooperative. I'm Laura Hengstenberg. I'm your host for Crawford Electric's first virtual meeting of members, which is taking place of the 80th annual meeting. We're here live at Crawford Electric headquarters for this special meeting to elect directors and conduct the business of the co-op. It's our hope that we're able to bring you a business session full of interest and interaction. For registered members, the platform we're using today offers you the ability to actively participate. You should see a chat box in the lower left-hand corner of your screen. If you want to ask a question or you have a concern, just type in that box and hit send. We'll do our best to address your questions later in the agenda. When we get to the official business, you'll have an opportunity to use chat to make the motions and the seconds that our parliamentarian will call for. And you can see a polling feature where you can approve those motions. We want to welcome all our members and friends who may be listening to this broadcast on Sullivan radio station KTUI, channel 102.1 FM, or maybe on KTUI's live YouTube channel, or maybe you're watching on Facebook Live. We welcome all of you. I want to let you know that your board of directors also is in virtual attendance. They're logged in and ready to go and participate as part of our audience as registered members. So welcome aboard, board members. Our agenda today will fairly recreate the business session of our traditional in-person annual meetings. We'll start with some opening ceremonies, which are always fun. Our board president will call the meeting to order, and our parliamentarian will conduct the official business, including announcing the results of our director election. Then our CEO, Tony Mallory, will offer his remarks about how your co-op has been working for you over the past year. He'll also address member questions that come in via chat, so please use that chat feature. And any questions that don't get answered during this broadcast, we'll do our best to respond to after the fact. And last but certainly not least, we're going to announce the winners of dozens of participation prizes. All voters in our director election were entered in a random drawing for electric credits. And as you know, that's free electricity just for participating in the business of your co-op. And who couldn't use that, right? And one lucky member will win the grand prize of a $1,000 electric credit. So you'll want to stay tuned for that. And now we'll be joined by co-op lineman and U.S. Army vet Josh Hitch, our local singing sensation Blake Beckett, and staking engineer Scott Morton for our opening ceremonies. So please feel free to participate in the Pledge of Allegiance, our national anthem, and an invocation. If you so choose, please rise.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Blake, we'd like to thank you for the national anthem. If we could bow our heads for a moment of prayer. Lord, we ask your blessing upon this meeting today, and we ask for your guidance as we make the decisions that are going to help run this co-op for the next year. Lord, we ask you to reach out and touch the many, many people who've been affected by COVID this year, not only within our co-op family or in our community, but within the nation as a whole. Lord, please guide and direct us as we go forth from this place, and in some way help us to bring more glory and honor to you. In your precious name we pray. Amen. Would everyone like to be seated?
Good morning. This is Crawford Electric CEO Tony Mallory. You and your co-op are lucky to have 63 outstanding employees working on your behalf. Over the years, we have enjoyed great success in recruiting and retaining top-notch local talent. Every year at annual meeting, we take a moment to publicly recognize co-op employees who have reached the 25-year employment milestone. Today, I'd like to tell you about the 2 employees the co-op was lucky enough to hire in 1995. First is Ed Cruz. Ed was hired in May of 1995 as an apprentice lineman. He progressed through our lineman training program and was recognized as a journeyman lineman in 1999. He has been a lead lineman on construction crews since 2009. Ed and his wife Christy live in Cuba. Thank you, Ed, for your service to our members. Next is Laura Hengstenberg. Laura was hired in June of 1995 as the co-op's communications coordinator. At that time, she handled the monthly member newsletter and worked in the member service department. Early in her career, she created and managed the Operation Roundup program. She became a member of the co-op's management team in 2003, and now she directs public relations and human resources. She has organized 26 annual meetings for us and has served as Master of Ceremonies for 20 of those meetings. She and her husband Tom live in Owensville. Congratulations, Laura, on 25 years at Crawford Electric.
Thank you so much, Tony. I'd like to conclude our opening ceremonies by giving our consumer members some background on the co-op they own and the board of directors that serves them. Here you see the 40 electric cooperatives in the state of Missouri. As you can see, co-ops cover all areas of the state, but we don't serve the entire population of the state. Missourians not served by co-ops get their electricity either from their city's municipal system or from one of the large investor-owned utilities. All local co-ops are autonomous and independent, which means we were built by and for the communities we serve. But a great thing about co-ops is that we work together to help each other in times of need, like after devastating storms. Cooperatives also work together to develop new technologies and infrastructure, to learn from each other, and to keep the grid secure. You can see where our co-op is located, just southwest of the St. Louis metro area. The white shapes to our east represent the service area of the huge for-profit investor-owned utility, Ameren, Missouri. Crawford Electric maintains about 3,000 miles of power line and serves about 20,000 meters. By way of comparison, the largest co-op in Missouri is Quiver River, just to our north, which serves more than 65,000 meters. One of the smallest co-ops in Missouri is in the far northwest corner of the state. Atchison Holt serves just over 3,800 meters. Ameren, Missouri, by contrast, serves more than 1.2 million electric meters, which makes it a system more than 60 times larger than Crawford Electric's, serving twice as many electric customers as all of Missouri's cooperatives combined. This map shows the outline of the service territory of Crawford Electric Cooperative. The blue arrows point out Interstate 44 as the diagonal red line that runs from St. Clair in the upper right, headed south and west towards St. James, essentially bisecting our service area. The middle blue arrow generally points to the co-op's centrally located headquarters at Bourbon. For your own reference, the numbers in the squares represent the first 2 digits of your account number. North of the interstate, we serve the rural areas of Sullivan, Spring Bluff, Strain Japan, and Stanton, and the Leslie, Beaufort, and Clover Bottom areas of Franklin County, as well as areas around Gerald, Rosebud, and Owensville into Gasconade County. To the south, we serve the majority of Crawford County, Cuba, Bourbon, Leesburg, Steelville, and down into Cherryville, Viburnum, Davisville, and Berryman, including tiny bits of Dent County. Southeast of the interstate, we serve a section of rural Franklin County and into Washington County toward Potosi. The green on this map represents the Mark Twain National Forest, which, as you can see, covers nearly half of our service area. The area also is crisscrossed by a number of streams and rivers, including the Burbus, the Merrimack, the Huzaw, and their tributaries. But we're here today to elect directors, so let's learn just a little bit more about them. Board districts are defined in the bylaws and drawn to ensure a nearly equal number of consumer members in each district. Not surprisingly, the districts are oriented around the interstate, where the population is most dense. District 1, which you see here, covers the northernmost and easternmost sections of our service area. District 2 is centrally located, and District 3 covers the south and west. The purpose of these director districts is to ensure that members of the board come from all sections of our service area. The directors, however, are elected at large from among all members of the co-op because that's who they represent, all members. The board has 3 directors in each district, each serving 3-year terms. Each year, the terms of 1/3 of the board expire, and members have the opportunity to vote for 3 directors. So now let's meet your Crawford Electric Cooperative Board of Directors. Janice Dorson is a District 1 director, and her term is expiring this year. She currently serves on the board's executive committee as the secretary. She lives on Spring Bluff Road in the Sullivan area. Justin Blankenship is also a District 1 director. He's best known locally by his nickname Bink. His term will expire next year. Bink lives on Hawthorne Drive, Sullivan. Ken Crowder is the 3rd District 1 director. He's a member of the board's executive committee, where he serves as vice president. Ken lives on Highway WW, Sullivan. His term will expire in 2022. Debbie Willett is a District 2 director. Her term is expiring this year. She lives on Highway H in the Strain Japan area north of Sullivan. Doug Murphy is also a District 2 director, and his term will expire next year. He lives on Highway J in Bourbon. Jim Bierman is the 3rd District 2 director. He lives on Highway 185 out of Sullivan. His term will expire in 2022. Joe Kaysen is a director from District 3, and his term is expiring this year. He lives on Highway DD, Cuba. Jim Cottrell also is a District 3 director. He serves as president of the board. His term will expire next year. Jim lives on Cherryville Road, Cherryville. And Gary Mullen is the 3rd director from District 3. He serves on the board's executive committee as treasurer. His term will expire in 2022. Gary lives on Mullen Road, Steelville. And now I'd like to introduce our board president, Mr. Jim Cottrell, for the official call to order. Mr. Cottrell.
Thanks, Laura, and thank you, members, for being here today. You know, I never thought I'd be talking at an annual meeting looking at a little camera, but here we are today. I'm Jim Cottrell, your board president. Because the trouble with holding a large public gathering during the coronavirus situation, your board canceled the usual annual meeting. We hope this new format reaches many members. As your board president, it is my duty and privilege to call this special meeting to order. Let's take care of the co-op's business in a safe and secure manner. The purpose of this special meeting is to allow membership to elect 3 directors and to approve reports from 2019. But we have a parliamentarian coming up next to conduct the important part of this meeting. But first, I want to thank you, the members, for participating in the business of this cooperative and being here today. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Shawn Battagler. The Board of Directors has asked me to act as parliamentarian for today's meeting. Based on a membership of 16,411 members, under Missouri statute and based on the cooperative bylaws, 184 registered members are required to establish a quorum. As of Monday, September 14th, 2020, there were 1,135 members registered by voting in the election. Therefore, a quorum has been established. We'll begin with the official business of approving presentations and approval of reports. Approval of the reports of the officers. First is the Secretary's report, which was published in the September edition of the Rural Missouri. That edition of Rural Missouri also contained the official notice of this annual meeting, and it included the minutes of the 2019 annual meeting. Now, as an aside, for those who are visiting with us online, there will be an opportunity, as Laura mentioned, to make motions by using the chat feature, and following the motion and second, a pop-up poll will appear for voting. So at this time, I would request that a motion to approve the Secretary's report, which would include approval of the minutes of the 2019 annual meeting, and also to waive the reading of the official notice and proof of mailing. I see I have that motion. And I have a second. Thank you. Now, those in favor should vote by use of the pop-up poll. And while folks are voting for that, and before we announce the results of that, we'll move on to the Treasurer's report. That report was also published in the official notice in the September 2020 Rural Missouri. And at this time, again, using the chat feature, I would ask for a motion to approve and a second. I have those. So you may vote by use of the pop-up poll. While we give a few minutes for people to have an opportunity to vote on those motions, we'll discuss for just a moment the process of conducting the election this year. Voting was done by mail-in and online voting that was held open from August 14th through September 14th, at which time an independent contractor outside of the cooperative gathered those and counted all of the ballots and online votes. They then submitted that information to me, and I met this morning with the election judges, members of the cooperative, to review the process. The election judges were given an opportunity to ask questions about the process, to review the mail-in ballots, and after they had asked and answered the questions that they had, they confirmed and certified the election results. Before moving on to those election results, I can now confirm that both motions previously made and seconded have been passed. The minutes of the 2019 annual meeting are approved. Reading of the notice and proof of mailing have been waived, and the treasurer's report is approved. At this time, I will announce the election results for the 2020 director's election. In District 1, Janice Dorson ran unopposed, received 1,026 votes. In District 2, Debbie Willett received 548 votes. Jim Smith received 210 votes. Valerie Wright received 197 votes. Larry Motzinger received 153 votes. In District 3, Joe Kaysen ran opposed and received 1,020 votes. So the results of the election are that Janice Dorson, Debbie Willett, and Joe Kaysen are each elected to a 3-year term or until their successors have been elected and qualified. Thank you.
Taking care of the election and the business portion of our meeting. Good morning. I'm Tony Mallory. I'm your CEO, General Manager. I'd like to take this time to thank all the members who are participating in this meeting right now, and for all those that participated in the election process. It is one of our core principles, so we appreciate that. And also want to thank all those that are tuning in today. In lieu of my regular address that I usually do, we prepared the following short video. Things are a little different this year. I'm used to talking to a garage full of co-op members, usually hundreds of people. Now I'm talking to a camera and a small production team, socially distanced of course. But I want to reassure you that in many ways nothing's different. As always, you and your co-op are resilient, innovative, and a source of reliability and stability for our communities. Like many of you, I'm so disappointed that we're not able to meet for our regular annual meeting this year. This big garage is awful lonely right now. But I don't want to wallow in that. I want to take this as an opportunity to be able to show you some things about our co-op that you don't normally get to see during a regular annual meeting. Resilient is a great word to describe how you and your co-op have been this year when faced with the difficulties of 2020. We ended 2019 with an operating margin of $1.2 million, slightly below expectations, but still putting us in good position to work on a number of projects for your benefit. In fact, 2020 was humming along. Spring projects were ready to take off, and we had just named our 3 outstanding youth tour delegates when things just pretty much shut down in early March. But we have been able to withstand and recover quickly, adapting to new processes and procedures designed to keep everyone safe. I want to thank you, the members, for your flexibility in adapting with us. When we closed our front lobby, we were able to keep in-person customer service available through our drive-thru. We separated our office staff with half at a time working from home. But again, the member service never stopped.
Thank you.
Many of you taken advantage of contactless options to get your business done. Our Smart Hub app puts a lot of power right in the palm of your hands. Going virtual for this member meeting is another example of resiliency. I appreciate all the members who participated in the absentee balloting for the director election. I'm thankful that we're able to have this digital conversation today, so let's stay connected. It took some innovative thinking to make all of that work this year. I've talked about smart investments in technology for several years now. We've seen the benefits in action this year. Cybersecurity, as always, is a top priority. We must ensure that the electric grid and your personal information stay secure. Our ability to quickly and securely switch to remote work and digital communication has really proved its worth. Even our linemen are digitally engaged. We've implemented some long talked about changes that permitted us to nearly eliminate the paper shuffle so common in our usual work processes. Innovation born of necessity, if you will. Humans are by nature resistant to change, but I'm proud of our workforce and how they've handled themselves this past year. We've really been living our values. Innovative thinking, open communication, and accountability to the membership are in the forefront of everything that we're doing. As CEO, I've made it a priority to stay engaged with the membership and our workforce, even as the situation dictates that we stay apart. I've heard time and time again from the men who choose to be line workers. They enjoy the camaraderie of working in a team, hard physical work, being outside, applying a skilled trade that not just anyone can handle, the pride of seeing the product of their labor and helping their communities. That's what it takes to be a critical infrastructure employee. That label is a mouthful, but what it stands for is the fact that we're in a 24/7, 365 business. Our communities rely on us. What we do is not just critical, it's life-sustaining. It's an economic engine, and it's something that no one can be without. Our line workers are among the most visible and most recognizable workers at the co-op. Every day you see them out working on your behalf. After all, that's our core mission, delivering you safe, reliable, and affordable electricity. This past year, crews have completed a number of significant projects that will benefit you by making your electric service safer and more reliable. Our system includes almost 3,000 miles of power line, almost 80,000 utility poles, acres and acres of rights-of-way requiring constant maintenance, and countless pieces of equipment that all must work together seamlessly to provide you with the reliable service that you expect. And that's why we invest millions of dollars each and every year in this system. Just one example of recent high-dollar long-term system improvements is the effort to solve power quality problems in the Clover Bottom area, up in the northern part of our territory. That area is unique in that it is served by a substation that receives electricity from Ameren, Missouri. This past year, we've worked closely with Ameren and our power supplier, Show Me Power, investing $2.6 million to upgrade equipment, establish an alternate transmission connection, and build in backfeed capabilities. All of that should help us reduce the frequency and severity of outages. We just received word that Ameren and Show Me are nearly ready to complete this project, so members in that area should be hearing from us soon. Earlier, I mentioned a $1.2 million margin. That's not cash in the bank. That member patronage has been reinvested in the system that serves you in projects like the one I've just described. In fact, in 2019, we invested $4.5 million in the system improvements. Member patronage finances some of that, but the rest comes from long-term debt. All of this builds up the value of the asset that you own, your electric system. Besides building and maintaining a top-notch electric grid, what else does it take to ensure that your co-op remains a trusted source of stability in our communities? Well, how about a sharp focus on affordability and concern for our communities? The economic turmoil this year has been a great challenge for everyone. Belt-tightening and fiscal responsibility were the norms here at your co-op as well as among our membership. As we always do, your co-op actively engaged with members facing financial difficulties. We help them access all available relief funds, and we work with them on payment arrangements. We also did our part to manage debt and finance operations in the most fiscally responsible manner. Because we are a not-for-profit, member-owned co-op, it's important to ensure that we're bringing maximum value to all of our consumer members. So I hope this video has helped you see how your co-op has worked hard this year to deliver on our promise to you, to be resilient, innovative, and a source of reliability and stability for our communities. Thank you for watching. Thanks to Show Me Power and Michael Kramer and his IT department, Laura and her people for working hard to put that video together, that production together for us. That was great. I hope you found it both educational and informational as well. There being no further business, I call this special meeting of the members now adjourned. So if you can, stick around. We'll have a little bit of a Q&A session for those that might be interested. Hang in there.
This is always a popular part of our in-person meeting, so I hope members will participate and use the chat feature, which is in the lower left-hand side for registered members. Just type in a question and ask a question. Let's put the CEO on the spot. How about that? While we're waiting for those questions to come in, I do want to answer one question that some members may have, or some of our other listeners or watchers. We just saw a video that was pretty awesome from the CEO. If you want to watch that again, or maybe you're just listening on the radio and you want to find it and watch it later, we are streaming this on Facebook Live. I believe that will be available for viewing after the fact. We also will be posting a link to this entire meeting on our website, so you can watch all of it or fast forward to the parts you want to watch at that time. And of course, as Shawn mentioned, anyone that wants to review the reports that were approved can also find those on our website under bylaws and annual reports. So on to the first question. Tony, you're over there and you're live, right?
Yes.
Awesome. Okay. Let's start with sort of a topical, timely one. The weather has been kind of rotten down there in the southeast. A lot of bad storms coming in. We don't get hurricanes, but do we ever work on hurricanes? Can you talk about that?
Sure. Love to talk about that. Yes, we do have some folks down there. We sent a crew down, I think it was 3 weeks ago, a crew of 4 gentlemen to work down there, and they work 16-hour days plus. So it's, as you can imagine, it's pretty hot and humid and pretty hard work down there. So we sent another crew of 4 last week to replace those guys coming back up. So to answer the question, yes, we do have some people working down there. It's a Beauregard Cooperative. So if you're on Facebook or something like that, look them up. I hope I spell it right. I think it's BEAU Regard Co-op, if I'm right, hopefully. Google that, I guess, on there. There's a lot of good comments. The folks down there, they've been out of power for 3 weeks now, and they're probably going to be out for at least a little bit longer. So they're taking it really well. They're extremely nice, from what I hear from our guys, to all the linemen down there. I think they have like 1,200 linemen working that. As Beauregard is a co-op of about 43,000 meters. So to put that in perspective, that's about twice our size. So it's a big co-op. Basically, for all intents and purposes, they were flattened. They had every single meter out of power at the very beginning. They also have some of their own substations. Unlike us, we do not have our own substations, but they had some of their own. All of their substations were out. A lot of their transmission was out. So they've got they've had a long road to hoe there and a long one to go. But we're trying to help them get back up and running.
Okay, well, while we're talking about stuff in the news, something else that's in the news are the wildfires out west, and connected to that are reports of utilities shutting off electricity. Is that something our members need to worry about, Tony?
Yeah, that's very unfortunate out there in California, the things they've got going. They've got like you said, the fires going on there. They also have the extreme heat, which, kind of feeds the fires, but it's also putting a strain on their electrical system. Their system is a little bit different than ours here. And I won't try to, talk about their system so much, but I can talk about ours. And that we have a 3-tiered system. We have Associated Electric at the very top. And they do the generation. They have all the power plants where we receive our power from. From that aspect, then you have Show Me Power, who has most of the transmission lines, the great big towers that you see from time to time. That's Show Me Power all the way down to the substation. And then, of course, from the substation, we take it out and we distribute it. That's where we're a distribution co-op. We distribute it to your house, your business, and things like that. So the nice thing about that method or that structure is that it makes it very reliable. Associated at the very top, as I said, has the generation. They've done a really good job over the last several years to, I guess, kind of spread things out a little bit, if you will. They have coal generation, they have gas generation, they have access to wind generation, and some hydro. So all of those factors coming into play on there, even some of the economics come into it. If one, if gas is really cheap, then they'll run more gas than some of the others, and vice versa. So makes it very a very good system from that aspect, but it also makes it very reliable from the aspect that we've got more than enough capacity here in the middle part of the United States. So I think our members should rest easy that we're sitting in a very good position when it comes to our generation and our power that we get.
Well, thank you, Tony. I know I feel a lot better knowing about the three-tiered system of co-op owned assets that protects our members and serves our members. So thank you for that.
Right.
Another thing I know is on the minds of members, because we hear it every now and then from a member asking us about broadband. Some have internet access, but maybe it's not at the speed they want, or they're not satisfied with the service that they have. What can you tell our members about whether Crawford is looking into that or paying attention to broadband in rural areas?
Sure. When it comes to broadband, obviously we're not in it at this point right here. But I will say that probably at least every quarter, if not every other month, it is a topic of some discussion within the boardroom. We do try to keep abreast of that situation. If you read the rural Missouri, you probably see articles about other co-ops in the state. We have 40 different distribution co-ops in the state, and I think there's like 8 that have some type of a broadband feature that they offer to their membership base on there. And that works well for those co-ops. Most of those had a really bad need for it back in their areas when it comes to that. And we have areas, select areas in our territory that I'm sure could use the broadband, but we don't have, I guess, what you would call a blanket area. I know it's very costly to roll out to get everything up and running, and I know there are some subsidies out there, and that's what it really would take to get it done on a large scale basis is some federal and state subsidies. There's if for those that keep up with it may have heard the term RDOF auction coming up. I think it's in late October, and that is to try and acquire some of these subsidy monies on there. The problem with that for us is it really doesn't apply to us here because the areas that are eligible to receive those funds are governed by the FCC. And while we do have a few small locations here and there throughout our territory, as a general rule, they really didn't include us in that. So we're really not a player in those types of subsidies on there. But again, we do talk about it all the time. We don't want to not be ready to do anything that we might need to do with that. So we do talk about it a lot in the boardroom.
Thank you, Tony. Now, I will say I'm surprised that our members are not asking more questions. When we are in person, I'm running up and down the aisles with a microphone, and people can't wait to get that microphone and just grill the CEO. So if you're on the Paragon platform, a registered member, feel free to use the chat box. If you're watching us on social, we actually do have our social media manager, Mallory, is watching that. So you could put a chat there if you wanted to. There's a bit of a broadcast delay, so we'll try and do our best to stay focused on that. In the meantime, let me ask Tony one other question that I know we've heard from members. I know it's on people's minds. There just may be a little questioning or concern about why did we not actually have a physical in-person meeting, and can you guarantee that there will be one next year?
Well, I sure hope we can have something next year. This has been a very trying year, not just from annual meeting aspect, but just in general for everybody. And going to what some of the decision making that we had to do this year, the planning and the prep and everything that goes along with annual meeting doesn't start last week. It's not even last month. It's about a 3-month lead time to get everything planned out and get it ready to go. So in June, July-ish, we were talking with the board, and we had to make a decision at that point in time because there were a lot of decisions that had to be made in preparation, as I said, for the annual meeting. The basic premise that we came up with was the fact that we have anywhere from 800 to maybe 1,200 people in our garage in the backpack here, all close together, all sitting next to each other, talking to each other, which is great. That's what we love. That's the part that we really like about having the annual meeting. But it does not fit with the things that we're trying to do to protect ourselves, our employee base, and also the members and guests that show up. We definitely did not want to put people in harm's way in regard to the COVID-19 aspect there. So it was a hard decision, tough decision. I don't think I guess it's probably the first time we've never had it, I guess. But it was I think it was a smart decision, a decision we had to make.
Thanks for that, speaking specifically about annual meeting, but we do actually have a member question that came in. Just curious how COVID is affecting our employees.
Oh, that's a good question. We have had, in our employee base, we have had some positive cases, I will say that. We have handled those very well. Luckily they've been very mild or minor when it comes to that. But the way we have, I guess, approached this is the fact that we can't just shut down. We have to be here for the membership. When we don't want the power to go out, but we know that it does. Storms come through and things like that. So we have to be here to put the power line back up, or at least turn the power back on for you. So we have done some things to kind of separate our employees out a little bit, to limit the exposure to each other. We've done some things in our front office. And, if you've tried to come in, obviously, for the most part, our front lobby has been closed, and we've been doing, all of our business through our drive-through. Thank goodness we have that drive-through, and we didn't have that in the past. And that has worked very well, and our members have been great with that. So thank you to all the members out there that have worked with us in these times out there. But, it's just a thing of just trying to make sure that we protect everyone, employee, non-employee, member, non-member, as best we can as we go through this process. And hopefully this thing will end here soon. We'll see.
From your mouth to God's ears, Tony. I hope that is what happens. Yes. I'm not seeing any other member questions coming through. So I think we've probably talked enough for our members. So at this time, I would thank Tony for the Q&A. We appreciate your time. And members, I think they know that they don't have to ask a question right this second. They can reach us anytime. As Tony mentioned, we're here all the time. Tony is very accessible to the membership, so don't be shy. If you don't want to chat here in this forum, that's perfectly fine. If there's something on your mind, just call us and ask, and we'll do our best to address your concerns. Thank you, Tony.
Thank you.
So at this time, really, that's it for our annual meeting, members. I want to thank you for being a participant here today, for registering if you did, for watching us on our Facebook, for watching us on KTUI's YouTube, for watching us or for listening to us on the radio. I hope we didn't have too much dead air. We did try and keep it moving for those listeners. I want to especially thank our speakers today, CEO Tony Mallory, our parliamentarian Shawn Battagler, Board President Jim Cottrell, our employees Scott Morton and Josh Hitch, and didn't you just love local singing sensation Beckett? I love hearing him. If we do this again, we'll try and get you an actual picture of Blake, because you want to see that as well. I want to thank our virtual meeting production and broadcast team. Here in the room with me, you can't see, I have a bunch of folks working behind the scenes. That includes Lori Rigo, Rachel Lawrence, and Grant Brooks and Janice Spurgeon. We also want to thank Tim Lewis and Gary Hamilton at Show Me Power for their efforts on Tony's excellent video. I want to give a shout out to Sam Scott at KTUI for his efforts in broadcasting our meeting. And I especially want to thank Paragon Live and the production coordinator, Erica Anderson, for her work with us. And for sure, Crawford Electric's own IT manager, Michael Creamer, for helping us try to maximize this new virtual platform. And of course, thank you, members, for your support of Crawford Electric Cooperative. Now, as your reward for sticking around till the end, now's the time that we're going to unveil the randomly selected winners of dozens of electric credits just for voting in the director election. So we offer congratulations to you all, and thank you again for voting. So Erica, let's roll that presentation. Thank you.
We always offer attendance prizes to members at our in-person annual meeting. We thought it only right to do the same for participants in the election of directors at our special meeting. All prizes are in the form of electric credits, which is basically free electricity, and who couldn't use a little of that? We want to thank our power supplier, Show Me Power Electric Cooperative, for their donation in support of the prizes for our members. The first 1,000 voters in the director election were guaranteed a $5 credit, which you'll see on your October electric bill. Then the rest of the prizes were awarded by random draw from among all voters. Our independent voting contractor handled the random draw. Credits range in value from $50 up to one winner of $1,000. The co-op will notify all winners, so don't worry if you miss seeing your name here. Credits will appear on your October billing statement, and we congratulate the winners. And we thank every one of you for voting and participating in this special meeting of the members of Crawford Electric Cooperative. Thank you for voting.